Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I need to get ready. I thought we might be able to do that together. I just got to put on a little bit of a face today. And you know what I thought I would do? I thought I would pick out stuff that I haven't used in a long time. Like there's some stuff here. There's one thing that I've never tried that's been sitting on my desk. I'm like, don't open it, don't open it. You don't, but I opened it. And then there's just a lot of stuff. It's been a minute since I've been in. So I thought that might be entertaining. But I would love to know how you're doing, how things are going for you. I haven't tried this in a while. You know why? Because my daughter Ava, my 16-year-old, is always worried about, a little bit of excess redness. And so she grabbed it and I had to get myself another one. And I actually really like the way this looks on my face. It's got 4% niacinamide, but mostly it's the way that it kind of brings down the redness without really looking kind of like green. I don't feel like Elphaba from Wicked, I just feel like a better version of myself with a little bit less redness. That's what I like. I'll make sure to list everything that I'm using in the description bar down below. I have really surprised myself with how much I like this. This is the corrector stick from Bobbi Brown. I picked this up because I saw Stephanie Marie talking about how much she loves and trusts this. I was like, okay, because like for probably 2, maybe 3 years now, I've been kind of like in step with the Beauty Pie Under Eye Corrector, the Super Luminous Under Eye Genius. Love that stuff. And then on a whim, I picked this up. Haven't looked back. I'm like, wait, what? Who am I? March has been an interesting month for me. Both of my kids had birthdays. Oldest was on the 5th. Youngest was on the 10th. They're 2 years and 5 days apart. So we had a lot of birthday celebrations this month. But I kind of have been struggling myself. Part of it, I think, is seasonal depression, seasonal affective disorder. I think there's some of that going on. Finally, where I live in the last week, we've got some like regular sun and it's exactly what my soul has needed. But I think another reason I've kind of really been struggling with this is the fact that I've been dealing with chronic pain for 19 years and it got worse this summer. I'm going to be using this. Talk about something I haven't used in a while. I know a lot of people didn't like this when it came out. Honestly, I kind of liked it. But I don't know that I loved it. I thought it was good. Here's the other thing I'm going to do. I've used it once. I picked up this new set of rougher brushes. They're the kind of the cream set. So they have this one here, which is the BO2. They have the BO3. And then this is the BO1. So this is for concealer. I should have been using this to blend out, but we'll use it for concealer. I'm gonna use this one here. This is synthetic and it's supposed to be for putting on creams and liquids. And I was like, yeah, I like that. Let's do that. So I picked these up. These are part of the concept store. If you're not familiar with Rougher, they do this really great thing where they have artisans in Japan who make these beautiful handmade brushes and then they sell them at a very reasonable price, but if you get them in their concept store, while they're still kind of workshopping them, they give them to you for, I think, 50% off. And all they're asking is for feedback from you. So, writing an in-depth review that is going to help them decide, do we keep it the way it is? Do we workshop it a little bit more? And I really like that. I forget how good, like I have this dark spot here. This coverage is actually really nice. And this brush, this is great. I think the first time I used it, I just used it to blend out some concealer that I was kind of spot concealing with over my entire face. So I haven't really used it. This is the first time I've used it to actually put on foundation. I'm really liking the way this is going. I was mentioning earlier how I deal with chronic pain. I've had 6 brain surgeries. I've had a lot of complications with my surgeries. And inevitably, there's always part of me that hurts. And I've been to multiple pain specialists like pain doctors. And the problem that I have is, the long-term problem is I have a 24-hour headache. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It never goes away, it's always there. Sometimes it's a little bit less intense, but it's always there and it always hurts. And that's just because I have some scar tissue on the covering to my brain, the dura, and there's a lot of nerve endings in the dura and there's no way to help that. It's actually scarred itself onto my brain, so every time I move my head, like bad headache. All right, so that's what I live with daily for the last 19 years. And I had another surgery. I have a ventricular peritoneal shunt. It's a device that siphons excess spinal fluid out of my brain, and it's attached to a tube that goes down and ends in my abdomen. Well, this summer, my shunt stopped working, so they had to replace it. And I happened to mention that I was having some jabbing and stabbing in my abdomen where that tube ends, that distal catheter ends down there. And I said, well, let's shorten it, let's move it. And where they placed it, oh, agony, agony. Every breath, every step was really bad. So on top of the regular pain from my surgery and the scarring that I have in my head that I deal with daily, also dealing with an extra layer of pain. And that's been since August. Okay. And it got so bad. I have seen a pain specialist. I had a second surgery to shorten and move it for again in December. I just cannot get away from this kind of crippling pain, and it's so bad. I don't know what to do at this point. The last time I spoke to my neurosurgeon, he says, well, the other thing we could do is we could move your shunt from your right side to your left side, which means that they would have to remove all of this and that entire tubing that goes down into my abdomen and place it on the other side. Not excited about that because I just had this surgery and they only replaced a portion of it. They didn't replace the tubing that's been there for the last 6 years. But I'm just like, no, I don't want to have another surgery. I'm trying to find a way to get rid of the pain that I'm dealing with. And the hard part for me has been, okay, if you don't deal with chronic pain, this may not make sense to you, but there's only so much energy I have in a day. There's only so many things I can do physically because I always hurt. And because I always hurt, it takes so much effort to pull myself up by my emotional bootstraps to get things done. So I am less productive than I used to be. I'm currently not working. I just can't handle full-time work as well as like the things that I normally do at home, you know, like making dinner, taking care of the house. And I'm sure my husband and my kids could pick up the slack, but they're busy. Like that's what I've been doing. It's what I'm used to. It takes less effort for me to do it. So, and I need something to do or I'm going to be going crazy. So YouTube is something I do for myself, but it also gives me kind of like some work to do. It's not really work. It's fun because I'm playing in makeup. I just tossed a little bit of the Hourglass concealer on. Let's see how this little brush here works. I might need some more in other places. I am first just gonna spread it out. I think the hardest part for me that has really added onto that layer of like the uncertainty is, will this pain ever go away? Is this my new normal? That I'm gonna hurt with, you know, every step, with every breath? Do I have the mental fortitude to deal with that pain as well as like the constant headache that I have that never goes away? Like I wake up in the middle of the night with my head hurting. And now I'm waking up in the middle of the night with this abdominal pain because it hurts to breathe. I've been taking shallower breaths, which means I get referred pain up into my shoulders from not taking a full breath because my diaphragm isn't expanding as far because it hurts. Anyway, I don't want to complain, but I'll tell you, I took some time off 2 weeks ago because I was literally, I felt like I was in the depths of despair. Did you ever watch The Princess Bride? You know, they were in the pit. That was me. And I felt like nothing could, there was no sunshine. It was gray and cold and rainy. I was dealing with this pain that has been around for almost 2 decades and then an extra layer of pain that I've been dealing with for 6 months now. Like just superbly overwhelmed. And I'm like, I can't do anything. So I stayed in bed for like a week. Now, I think mentally I needed to check out. I needed to, you know, slow my roll, but sunshine is helping. Spending time with my family. My family is great. Thankfully, I have some really great doctors. I have an appointment this week with a physician who specializes in pain in Seattle. So I have a pain clinic appointment. I also have an appointment coming up, I think next week, with my primary care physician who has been kind of helping me deal with you know, some of the aspects of the, you know, seasonal affective disorder as well as the other issues I've been having where I feel like I'm emotionally overwhelmed. So I've been taking a antidepressant and I'm not a stranger to that. You know, therapy and antidepressants on and off as needed. It's been 6 years since I've been on an antidepressant, and I'm glad to be back on one because not only was I dealing with a lot of like feelings of being overwhelmed, I was also just in a bad mood. When you hurt, I was in a perpetual bad mood. Oh, so anyway, I've kind of been dealing with a lot emotionally and physically as well. I had a friend call me the other day and mentioned that they needed to have an MRI, and they got a quote from their insurance as to what their portion would be. And they were like, oh my goodness, how many MRIs have you had? And I was like, I don't know, too many to count. And that's when I realized I've been sick. I counted it up. I've had 11 surgeries in the past 6 years. I've been hospitalized 6 times. And if we're talking CAT scans, MRIs, nuclear medicine studies for my brain, as well as brain mappings, I've had more than 50 of those combined studies. That doesn't include any x-rays, because every time I have them take a look at my shunt, they have to do a shunt study, and that's multiple x-rays as well as an MRI or a CT or both. And I was like, oh yeah. So my goodness, I always tell my husband, we joke about it, how like my brain is worth, it's like the $1 million brain, probably more than that at this point. But all of our money for like a new car or for like a bigger home or for like a family vacation just gets invested into me having a functioning brain and a happy body. And we kind of laugh about it, but he always tells me, sweetheart, that way lies madness. Don't add it up. Don't think about how much it's costing you. Don't think about the co-pays. Just, you know, this is our lot and we're going to be fine. We have really loving and supportive family. My parents are great. My brother is great. My husband's family is great as well. So we have a lot of people around us supporting us. But dude, it's sometimes when I stop to think about it, it's a lot. Okay, I'm going to throw on a little bit under my eyes. This is still obsessed with this Givenchy powder. I was thinking about maybe making a video. I know we're coming close to the Sephora savings event. The day that I'm recording this is, I think there's 4 or 5 days left until the Ulta spring savings, whatever their new sale is called. It used to be their 21 days of beauty is over. And I haven't purchased a single thing. Part of me is like, I don't know who I am. And the other part of me is like overwhelmed. Like I've had so much like new stuff in the past several months, as well as like, I'm just up to my eyeballs in lipstick. And I didn't want to feel overwhelmed by making more purchases. So I've kind of just put a pin in it for now. But I would love to know if you were thinking about the Sephora sale, what information would you be interested in seeing from me? Like what I'm thinking about or recommendations. I've done recommendations in the past. I don't think I pulled this out since last summer. So I would love to know what sort of content you're interested in seeing for the Sephora sale. I think I'm going to pick up some stuff, but I don't know that I'm going to pick up too much. I am trying to make sure I'm very careful as to what I'm letting in my collection right now. I feel like I've been a little bit overwhelmed, especially like at the beginning of this year. But I really feel like there's so much good stuff that I already have in my collection. That's why I was like, let me just pull stuff that I already have that I haven't used in a long time. And I think that reminding myself like, oh, look at this. Because sometimes, you know, having something out that I haven't seen in a while almost makes it feel brand new. And I don't always want to be talking about new, and you feel like you have to run out and buy stuff. I don't ever want you to spend in a way that doesn't work for you or your budget, or ending up with more stuff than you can use. But I think there is something, if you are kind of like a beauty fanatic like me, there's that curiosity. And sometimes it's really fun to try a new product and be like, wow, this is great, it's perfect for me. Or super disappointing to try something new and go like, oh, how exciting. Oh, this was meant for someone else. Oh, I don't like this. This is not how I use makeup. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of interesting. So let me know what you're interested in seeing. All right, so I got the new Patrick Ta shade in Not Too Much, but it really reminded me how much I love this formula. This is the one, She's That Girl. This, I think, was one of the lighter shades in Patrick's collection with his first line of these duos. But I'm gonna start with just a little bit. I've really kind of been reaching for the Not Too Much a lot, and I forgot how pretty this shade was. I was like, let's wear this today. And then a little bit of the cream. I'm gonna like tap it between some fingers here and then just kind of go over tops right here. I was just thinking about these rougher brushes. I really like this one. This was great. And maybe this is because this is the first time I was using this one. This is the B01. I don't know, it felt a little bit kind of like hard under the eyes. Like it was kind of, it's not that it's not soft, it's just so dense. It feels like I'm like stamping it. And maybe it's me like holding it here and like really going to town. That's one thing I learned a long time ago. If you want a lighter touch, hold towards the end of the brush. But I don't know about this one yet. I do really like this brush. This kind of reminds me of the Merit brush, only it's a little bit more dense. They're cut kind of the same way. The only thing here is the fibers are just a little bit longer. And I feel like this is just a little bit more dense, which is really good. This is one of my favorite brushes. I like this one so much I have two. This one obviously needs to be washed, but this is great stuff. I have been obsessed with these little teeny tiny pencils. This is the Precisely My Brow Detailer from Benefit. These little tiny guys are so like exactly what I'm wanting right now. For the longest time, I've been doing this type of detail work with one of those pens like the Glossier, what is it called? Their brow pen. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. All I can think of is Boy Brow. I'm like, that's not it. Or with the Anastasia brow pen. I've tried the ones from NYX. I've tried the ones from Milani. I've tried the ones from MAC. I've tried the ones from Urban Decay. Like I've tried so many of those brow pens. And I think those are very akin, because it's a liquid product, very akin to liquid liner. And my 14-year-old said it perfectly. Liquid liner can smell fear, and those brow pens can smell fear. And maybe it's that the brush tips are too large, or there's too much liquid flowing out the end, that sometimes it's like I can get like a perfect look, and sometimes it's like 2016 called They Want Their Eyebrows Back, you know? And I feel like with this, I can just fill in where I need it. This eyebrow needs quite a lot here, but it's also a little bit lighter and a lot more forgiving, which is really what I am really looking for these days. I want good brows. I want them to be filled in, but I don't want it to look like a block brow or something that's too harsh. I feel like the older I get, the more likely I am to, you know, overdo something and have it really age me, and that's not what I'm going for. Eyebrows are one of those things, or eyeliner if I wear the wrong liner, or if I wear a lipstick without a lip liner. Talk about things that age me. Wow. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit. This is just a clear gel to hold my brows where I want them. It doesn't have any color in it, but I feel like I already filled them in where I want to. And the other thing that's nice is once this is completely set, if I feel like there's a place that still has a gap in it after I get the brow hairs where I want them, I can just go in with that little tiny detailer and put a couple of marks in and just make it work. Talk about something I haven't used in forever. This Nouveau palette, I forgot how much I liked this. When did this come out? Was this 2022? I don't remember. I think this was 2022. I don't think it was, no, it wasn't last year. It was 2 years ago. All right, so I'm gonna reach into this. Today, I'm trying to think about maybe a little bit outside of what I regularly do, but who knows, it might look like it always does. I'm gonna pick up the matte brown in here and just throw a little bit of this like right here. I don't want to do anything too involved. I kind of want like a softer overall look and maybe kind of lean into a bold lip. I'm trying to remind myself that I don't need anything new in the lip department right now, because in the past several months I've picked up so much new stuff because I was doing that luxury lipstick series. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it for you in the description box down below, but it was a lot of fun to record, and it was trying on new things and then ranking all of my matte luxury lipsticks and all of my cream luxury lipsticks. So there's try on videos, there's ranking videos, it's a whole playlist. I'll put it in the description box, but I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't need another lipstick for like ever. And then YSL, one of my favorite brands for lip products, released a new lipstick. They discontinued one of my favorites, the Rouge Volupté Shine. Love that Rouge Volupté Shine. I have so many, I think I have 5 or 6 of those. Love those. And they replaced it. So they reformulated, and then they have whole new packaging. It's not gold now, it's silver, and it kind of looks like the candy glaze. But where the candy glaze has this kind of hot pink right here. The Love Shine oil and sticks are like a baby pink in through here. So I'm just like, oh, the other packaging is no more. Anyway, doesn't matter. I want to try those, but didn't I just buy like hundreds of new lipsticks? I don't need a new lipstick. What would I do with it? I don't know. I'd figure it out, but I'll just tell you, I just keep reminding myself, you don't need another lip product. The shade is always so pretty. Man, I forget how good these ABH palettes can be. Now, I never did pick up any of the Norvina ones. I had the original Norvina that came in that kind of periwinkle velvet packaging before there was like the Norvina line, but I never picked up any of the pigment palettes that were in that kind of plastic packaging from the exclusive Norvina line amongst ABH. I kind of felt like that was a time where me and ABH were not seeing eye to eye. They weren't releasing things that really intrigued me, especially not in the eyeshadow department. But I feel like they've kind of come back to a place where they're making things that I want to wear now. I almost got what was the one that came out last fall that was metallic and a rose? I forget what it was called. I'll throw a picture of it up. I almost got that. I still haven't gotten it because, like, do I really need it? No. That's the sort of eyeshadow that if I wasn't making videos for YouTube, I would probably use and use regularly. But because I have so much, I have to get to that point where I ask myself, am I going to realistically use this? And there have been so many other brands. I just feel like me and ABH, we're not seeing eye to eye. But pulling this out, I'm really liking this. I'm going to throw on a little bit of the Persona 24/7 waterproof eyeliner in Graphite. This is a shade that I picked up a couple weeks back, and I have really been liking it. I've always liked this formula. I like how well it stays where I put it. And I like that this shade is kind of like a gray with a warmish brown lean to it. It's not completely matte. I kind of like that it has, and it's not really sparkly. It's just, it's got a little subtle shine to it. I like that. This might be too much information, but it's one of those things that is like, your health is important. If you haven't done this, maybe consider doing it. I'm having my first colonoscopy this week. I am not looking forward to it because I have to be on a liquid diet for 36 hours. And I love eating food. Me and food get along really well. So I'm going to be going in on Wednesday for that. And thankfully, you know, it's not surgery, it's just a procedure, but they're going to put me, they're not going to put me under like total anesthesia. I'm not going to be intubated, but they will kind of zonk me out with a little, I think it's propofol that they use, whatever it is, doesn't matter. I will not remember it, for which I am grateful. But I didn't know this. March is kind of like colon awareness month. And a lot of doctors who do this procedure are really wanting to make sure that people know, hey, at 45, this is the weird thing. I remember colonoscopies used to be done at 50. That was kind of like the standard age. And then somewhere mid-pandemic, it changed to 45. Because I remember going in this fall, just talked to my doctor, and he's like, you haven't had your colonoscopy yet. And I was like, don't I have to be 50? I'm not 50. I was still 48 at the time. I was like, I got a couple years. He's like, no. It changed a couple years ago. It went from 50 to 45. They find that they can treat and take care of things, and it tends to be treatable earlier if they give you 5 more years. And it's like, oh, and that all changed. I don't know if it was 21 or 2020. Whenever it changed, like the recommendations, I was not going to the doctor regularly. But now I'm like, okay, let's go. So by the time this video is up, I will definitely be on clear liquids only. And then on Wednesday, my colonoscopy. So it should be easy peasy, but one of those things I was like, dude, this is the new maintenance now. For women, pap smear, mammogram. And if everything comes out fine, you know, once a decade, that's not bad. All right, so this is the one thing that is literally new that I haven't tried, that I was like, don't open it, and I'm gonna open it. This is the new Panorama mascara from L'Oreal. I heard that this is a tubing mascara, and I was like, oh, really? I love a tubing mascara. Now, it's definitely more expensive than other ones. If you haven't seen it, you probably have. It's like everyone's been using this and loving this, but it does have one of those kind of rubber or silicone molded brushes, longer bristles on the end, shorter ones. And there are spaces in between these rows where you can really see the product heavily deposited. So I want to see what this looks like on, and I want to know how this washes off. I had somebody tell me, I think it was B was telling me that she had the new Lisa Eldridge mascara and this one, and was thinking, I love that new Lisa Eldridge one. It's so good, but it's a $30 mascara. She's like, but this might be even better. And I was like, oh, now I have to crack into the one that I've had. I've literally had it here since I found it at my local Ulta. It had just launched, and I live out in the sticks, okay? The fact that I have an Ulta within like a few minutes ride is like miraculous to me. But beyond that, it takes forever for them to get new releases, or maybe it's just sitting in the stock room and they haven't stocked it on the shelves yet. I always feel like my little small town Ulta is like the last one to get the stuff. You know what? That's not half bad. Okay. I don't feel like I'm dealing with too much clumpage. I have short, straight, downward pointing lashes. They're not very voluminous. I don't use an eye serum on my lashes. Like, these are just the way that I was born. And I feel like when a mascara can do this, this is pretty impressive for me because I don't have the best lashes in the world. Wow. Okay, other side. I thought I was reaching for my Charlotte Tilbury. This is a Beauty Pie lip pencil. This is from their Holiday Rouge set. I think this one might be a little blue-red, but we'll use it. I already have it going on here. For lipstick today, I'm throwing on this one from Carolina Herrera. This is the shade Carolina. This is the matte version. But it is definitely like a warm red compared to this really kind of cooler red here. I feel like I might need just a little bit more blush. I think this is so funny is every time I put a lipstick on, I'm like, I need more blush. And then later I look at myself in the mirror or a natural light and I'm like, too much blush. But I love, love, love being able to just tap on a little bit more of that cream product. This is such a pretty blush. Oh man. This is beautiful. I'm gonna leave it there. I was like, do I need highlight? No. Do I need more? No. just leave it there. Let's rock the bold lip and the really simple eye and kind of like the blushy cheek. I like, you know what's funny is that I know a lot of people are complaining about this foundation when it came out. I actually really like it. I think it's really pretty. I think, first of all, it's a really great match for my skin. If you're curious, I'll have the number in the description box down below. But not only does it look good, a lot of people mentioned that it was kind of like glittery in natural light. I have never noticed that. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong time when the light is not really hitting my face, but I feel like this is just a really pretty natural look. I really like this. I think I need to be reaching for this more. But let me know, have you tried this? What's your experience? I just forget about it. Thank you so much for watching today. I liked that I was pulling out stuff I hadn't used in a while. Stuff that had been kind of sitting here in my collection, like this shade of blush. I remember like, yeah, I just got the new one, I really like it, but I forgot how good this was. And now I'm like, ooh, I have the bronzer and contour from Patrick Ta too. Like, there's just so much good stuff out there. I need to remind myself that I don't always have to go and spend more to get a beautiful look. Sephora Sale's not that far away. It starts, I think, on the 5th for VIB. And then later for other people. But if there is a type of video that you want to see, whether it's recommendations or maybe when I'm putting in my loves list for the sale, let me know, we'll talk about it. Thank you so much for watching today and for listening to me talk about how I've been kind of struggling emotionally, physically, you know, a little too much TMI with my colonoscopy, but you know, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to take care of ourselves, and I don't ever want my kids to feel like it's bad to talk about how we're doing. So an honest conversation about mental health, an honest conversation about, you know, making sure you're getting your regular exams done, you know, that you need to do. And for us women, I thought about it. I started getting a pap smear, you know, after I got married. I was in my 20s, and then at 40, the mammogram, and now 45, colonoscopy. I'm like, what's next? What comes after this? Is there anything else? Maybe it's bone density testing. I don't know. If you know, let me know what's next for me as an aging woman. I would be so curious to know. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.